Alright guys, we are back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the performance that Terence Crawford just had last Saturday, the 13th, against Canelo Alverez. Him beating Canelo and then becoming a three-way undisputed champion. We're just going to dive straight into it, have a chat, break down the entire fight, and then figure out what's next for these guys. Let's get. So leading up to this fight, I had the sense of Crawford being two-weight undisputed champ, coming up in weight from 147 to 154, and then jumping two weight classes to fight Canelo. Now the whole assumption was, can Crawford handle the weight? I.e. the different weight comparing to someone who's bigger, holding the weight throughout the rounds, maintaining the speed, maintaining the footwork, and seeing if the power will translate. That was the whole stipulation of Crawford trying to come up. Now we see how Canelo is. Recently, he's more of a walk you down, hit you with some big shots, wear you down, and then find a shot to hurt you and potentially finish you. Now, with the whole build-up, people were saying that Canelo, since he's a bigger man and he's still skillful, he's gonna win. And to be fair, that's how I thought too. I thought Canelo was gonna win. During the few months leading up to the weigh-in and the press conference, both the teams dropping photos, dropping information to try and worry each other. Canelo dropping photos of him sparring boot tennis. Terence Crawford showing his physique of him coming up to 168. Just little mind games. I felt like, yeah, it's going to be probably a close fight because Terence Crawford's two-weight undisputed for a reason. He's a good fighter. He has good IQ. He's a switch hitter. He gives people problems and he knows how to adapt and he knows how to win the rounds that matter. Leading up, you see Terence Crawford filling into the weight. Now, yes, he looked big. He looked strong. He looked shredded. But that doesn't really mean anything until the fight. Now, when the weigh-ins came, we saw them side by side. Terence filled out the weight. He looked the same size. Yes, he has the reach. Yes, he has a bit of the height. But Canelo is more of a 168 fighter. He's been at that way for longer. He's wider and he's a bit thicker. So we were like, okay, they weigh the exact same, 167 and a half. Now we wait till fight day and then we'll see who is better. Because that's the whole thing. Yeah. Like when I think, yeah, people come in and then they'll say, yeah, it's not the natural weight that they've been in, or they're not used to that way. Yeah, they have to go up or go down. They've never been in it. That usually goes out the window personally for me when they weigh the exact same weight and the conditioning of how they look when they make the weight. Like, yeah, sometimes you'll get people coming up in weight. They make the weight, but they look a bit more full. They don't look as lean. Or when people coming down, they look too drained. So we don't know how it's going to affect them. Terence Crawford came in, I would say, on the perfect way. He was lean, but not too lean where he looked drained. So when it gets to the fight, my prediction was, I predicted that Canelo was going to beat him. I felt like I knew it was going to be a difficult fight because Terence Crawford is elusive. He can move around really well. He has good hand speed. So yeah, I was thinking, yeah, I think Canelo's probably going to win because he has some of the advantages. I was thinking around round 8 where he'd probably catch him, rock him, possibly drop him, and then finish him afterwards, or at least get the decision win. That was my prediction. Now we're just going to talk about the actual fight now and what actually happened. Now, when they were walking out, you can see that both of them are confident as usual. You can see that both of them are ready. And you can see that both of them prepared for this moment. Now, when you see them side by side, you could see that Canelo looks like a bit bigger. You can see that he rehydrated probably around 180, and then Crawford probably around 175, probably around there. So when you see them side by side and you actually watch it, it looked pretty even from the first rounds. So when the first round hits and the bell rings, you can see how a usual fight will start out when it comes to highly intelligent, highly skilled fighters. Starts off slow. You'll see them just get a read, see what's gonna happen. Now for the first round to the fourth round, it wasn't really as action until the later rounds. So the way that I saw it was round 1 and 2, I would give it to Crawford because he was more active with his lead hand. He was more active of trying to gauge distance, trying to figure out what Canelo was going to do. Now the third and the fourth, I gave it to Canelo because he was landing pretty significant to the body. He was landing big shots around the guard, trying to see what he can do and putting pressure on. And that's why I gave him those 2 rounds. Now, from round 5 to probably around 10, it was pretty even from my eyes. The exchanges were pretty even from probably the middle of the rounds, from like that 2-minute mark. But then this is where you would see Terence Crawford start to edge out those rounds, because you'll see him start strong, start him throw some combinations, landing to the head, landing to the body. But then you get Canelo coming back. You throw in, as he usually does, with big power, throwing to the body, trying to walk Crawford down. But Crawford's not trying to give him any time to stay in one position. So he's moving around. He's evading Canelo's signature left hook and his right hand. Yes, he'll get hit to the body. Yes, he got hit a few times with some straight right hands. But you'd see Crawford willing to exchange. And that's what I thought was so interesting. I thought it was so interesting because throughout the fight, people were saying, or the fight buildup, people were saying, Crawford is gonna have to fight a perfectly defensive fight so he won't get caught. And it's better for him to stay at the mid to long range distance from Canelo, so Canelo won't put him into a position where he doesn't want to be up close. So, but in this fight, you can see Crawford was willing to be in the pocket and exchange, and he was winning the exchanges. He was winning the exchanges against someone who mastered basically being in the pocket, getting up close, throwing big power and combos. And Canelo, throughout the rounds, you could see Crawford winning. For every 2 rounds Crawford was winning, I would say Canelo was winning probably 1 round. And then it got to round 8 to round 10, where this was the moment where it really decided the fight. And you can see Canelo getting frustrated with not being able to stop what Crawford's trying to do, or trying to cut him off. But Canelo's just having a difficult time. So you see him get a bit frustrated, and you can see him trying to just land whatever without any setups or with any just real, like, I don't know, it was just strange. You can really see that Terence Crawford was just gonna run away with it at the end. And that just gives him, you have to give him credit for that, because coming up in basically almost 3 weight classes to fight someone who's undisputed. He's undisputed in his weight. To come up, challenge, make the weight, and then just have a performance that's crazy to that standard, it's crazy. Now, when it hits round 10, 11, and 12, you can see them just going back and forth, and Crawford is just willing to sit in the pocket and exchange. And so you have to tip your hat off again, because who's willing to really do that with someone as dangerous, as high IQ and skill as Canelo. Someone who is someone with the same or higher IQ, or someone with the same skill. So when it hits those rounds, you could see Terence Crawford, even when he's up in the scorecards, because I had it at least, I'm being generous, you could have it at least 7-5 Crawford, maybe 8-4 Crawford, because Crawford just had a beautiful performance. He landed more jabs. He was able to evade Canelo's best punches, and he was able to stay in the pocket and just outwork him. And that's just crazy. For someone who's 38, only has one fight a year, that's unheard of. It's crazy. Now, bell rings and the fight is over. I was like, yeah, Crawford won. I felt like, giving your analysis, you had hope for something of a firefight. Just non-stop action, non-stop work, non-stop just high pace. We didn't see that, and that could be detrimental into the brand of making the best fight of all time. But you do get a good performance for someone who's coming up in weight. This naturally smaller guy, but he's winning. That's all that matters. He won against, basically with everything against his favor, fighting someone who is, at the end of the day, already a legend. He's already a legend. Like, even with the loss, Canelo is always going to be a legend now, because his resume is so deep. He's a 2-time undisputed champ, multiple weight division champ. He's still, in my opinion, a high level on the list of pound for pound boxers. He's still, in my opinion, probably the best Mexican boxer of all time. Him and Julio Cesar Chavez. So you can't really knock Canelo, because he's facing someone who's a generational great as well. So yeah, I felt like this is coming to like a time where we're starting to see the greats now in their later career trying to probably just say, hey, I had my time, let the other generation come through, and then let them do their thing. Talking about the game plan with Crawford, it was obvious that he was wanting to prove a point, but also have the intelligence to be defensively responsible. So you can see what his game plan was. Utilize the jab the most, move when you need to move, but also stay in distance so you can score points and then ultimately win the round at the end. That was his plan. Show him and show Canelo that he can hang with the power. Show that he is more skillful. Show him that he had the better plan and execution. Stay at distance, move around when need to, stay in the pocket to score points, and then get out of distance and reset and nullify Canelo's his best punches with the movement and the combinations. Because when he moved around, Canelo couldn't really plant himself, throw the proper shots, because Crawford would be out the way. Now, I felt like Canelo's game plan, I felt like in the early rounds, yes, he wanted to show, yes, I can still move around. I can still show what I got from previous years and previous fights, that I can still do it. Now, for the first 4 rounds, yes. But then afterwards, I guess he even said so himself. He tried to figure him out, but his body wouldn't let him. Now, that could be an indication that since he was been a pro, since he was 15, yes, he's, 35? He's young in age, but he's old in miles in the sport. He was a pro since 15. That's a long time. That's 20 years. You can see that it's like when he has to move, when he has to switch up to accommodate for his mileage in the game, adapted the more walk you down, throw hard punches, break you down, and then finish the fight. With Crawford, it didn't work because Crawford had good movement. He had good combinations. He threw the jab frequently and he got out. So with Canelo, it's like, how do you figure out that, but also be able to try and win? And he couldn't. I'd say just with probably the preparation or the game plan that they wanted to do was, yes, be more elusive, throw more combos, and then ultimately break down Crawford and then score a knockdown or a knockout. Because I guess they expected Crawford to be like he was in the Madrimov fight, be more in the pocket at distance, not really moving around as much, but that wasn't the case. So at the end of the day, you gotta take your hat off to Terence Crawford, because who else is gonna do something like that in this generation? Not many people can, unless it's someone from like the lower weight divisions, because I guess there's not that much efforts in becoming an undisputed champ from the lower weights, because they jump up like four pounds, so you can easily become undisputed at like 135, 140, and then 147. So you could do that, but no one's gonna be doing that, at least not in this generation of fighters. So what do you do next? What do you do next? For Crawford, honestly, he could just retire. He's done everything. Yes, his resume isn't as comparable as it is to some fighters. It's not like, when you look at it, Terence Crawford's resume before fighting Canelo, and then Canelo's resume before fighting Terence Crawford, Canelo obviously has a better resume. He's fought more fighters, he's fought more top opponents, he's fought more ranking champions, but as of now, Terence Crawford just beat the #1 guy and now has the more accolades. So you can have Terence Crawford retire right now on top, or you can have him fight someone at 160, 154, or some people at 168. But I don't say that's gonna happen. I feel like he's more likely to go down in weight again. That could be dangerous, because usually when people go up in weight, have a fight with a big fighter, and then come down, it can ruin the durability and your ability to absorb shots. But he didn't really get hit this fight. Yes, he got hit a few times with some big shots. He took it, kept going. So he can go down in weight. But I don't know. With Crawford, you can do whatever. But the real question is, what's next for Canelo? Like, again, you too. You've done it all. You have faced the who's who. You beat so many people. What do you do next? Now, he still has 2 fights under Turkey that he has to do. I felt like if this fight was close, Canelo did lose, but it was closer. Like, some people could have had it a draw, or he could have just lost by a round. Personally, I had him losing like 3 rounds behind, like maybe even 4 rounds behind. But it wasn't like a pure domination. It was just Terence Crawford getting the better of the exchanges and then winning. So with Canelo, since this performance, I don't want to see him take the immediate rematch or call for it, because I feel like that if he were to fight Crawford again, it'd probably just be the exact same performance like we see with Usyk and AJ, Usyk and Fury, or Usyk and Dubois. That guy's different, but I feel like it'd play out the exact same way, or probably even worse for Canelo. Now, I don't see him getting dropped or rocked or knocked out, because that guy has generational chin. He's not going down. But I do see a more of a masterclass performance, maybe even more domination side from Terence. So what I would like to see is Canelo have 2 more fights with some, I would say, some smaller opponents, someone more his stature, someone who's coming up to 168, someone who's same height, reach relatively, and then same weight at 168, and then have two fights at 168, and then call for the rematch as his retirement fight. Because Canelo did say he wants to stop at 37. And with 2 fights under Turkey, he's probably going to retire after that. Now, I would say for Canelo, fight two people, and then call for the rematch. But he's going to have to work on so much stuff. He can't rely on the power and just try to find him and then hit him with the one big shot. I would say focus on combination punches. Focus on, if you're trying to pressure him, focus on cutting him off quicker. Focus on being able to throw the jab more. Because that's the problem with Canelo. He'll throw like a 1-2 flick jab just to set up the power shot. But I feel like if he threw more jabs to offset Crawford's momentum, he probably would have done better. Who knows? We didn't see it. So I feel like he should work on his combination punching, work on setting up shots better, and work on throwing in the pocket as well. Because in this fight, you didn't really see Canelo throwing uppercuts. You didn't see him throwing uppercuts or jabs. It was just mainly the hook to the head, hook to the body, or the right overhand. That's all you really saw. You didn't really see that much uppercuts. Or, like, you'll see a late uppercut here and there, but you didn't really see from his backhand where he throws. But again, it could be just because his body couldn't do it. He couldn't just, his body wouldn't let him. Because he, again, miles on the game. But that's what I would like to see from him. 2 more fights, then call for the rematch. And even if he loses or if he wins, he can retire after that. Because he's done everything. He's done everything in the game. He's not going to do that much more. He can't really do much more. Yeah, he said he, like, even before he wanted to rematch Bivol at 175. I don't see that happening. I can't see him rematching Terence and possibly winning. He just needs a better game plan and a better, I would say, just take like half of the year and then fight in December and then call for the rematch in 2027. That's what I see. Anyways, that was the whole fiasco of Terence Crawford beating Canelo, becoming a 3-weight undisputed champion. Yeah, it was a pretty good fight. It was a pretty, I won't say it's the most entertaining. I would say it's the most IQ level fight you can watch nowadays. That being said, I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you guys comment. Make sure you guys subscribe. And yeah, turn on the notifications to know when I'm going to upload next. And yeah, take it easy. Peace.